Hey everyone, Stephen at Brahms Life Coaching, and this video is what is the inner child? So, have you ever thought to yourself, have you ever recognized any of these patterns where you're feeling shame, maybe feeling pain or guilt? You find yourself chronically overworking. You feel as though you are just wasting time unless you're doing something or achieving something. Do you feel the inability to be present in the moment? It's really hard for you to be focused and standing still. Do you regularly find yourself being anxious or living in a state of fear? Or are you a type of person that's too rigid? Everything has to be perfect, everything has to be organized. These are signs that it's actually your inner child that may be acting up. Now, beforehand, I am not a therapist, I'm not a psychologist, so I cannot diagnose, I cannot treat. But this concept is very helpful, especially with life coaching, because if you can understand what's going on, it kind of helps help you guide clients to help them move forward. And the purpose of today's video is more informational. So basically, the inner child is the way you see the world. And when we were younger, we gather information and we find out who we really are, what do we believe about ourselves, what do we believe about certain situations, and it's all based on our experiences. And we end up, carrying these messages with us. So the inner child is, you may end up there's good and bad. You may have good experiences. For example, whenever you hear music or whenever you smell a smell or whenever you see a certain dish, it may remind you of a certain memory, when you were younger. And the opposite is true too. If you lived in a home where your mother or your father constantly was on your butt, you had to get straight A's, you had to do everything perfect, and you may have developed this belief where there's something wrong with you if you didn't do things right. Another token is where if you lived in a home that didn't show much love and you never really felt loved, you may be now in a relationship where it's very hard for you to share your feelings and to show love. So understanding what the inner child is can bring you so much enlightenment. Another example of inner child is where you may feel as though you constantly have to please people in order to be loved. So again, I'm a relationship coach, so if you're in this finding a hard time in your relationship where you may feel like your spouse doesn't show love the way you want to feel loved, or they may be closed off, or they may be the opposite. They may be too clingy, too emotional. It's kind of draining. You feel like they're just really clingy. It may be a problem. So just understanding, the point of this video is just to understand what is the inner child, to kind of bring it out there. And I'm going to create future videos where we'll get a little bit deeper, like how to recognize it, what are things you can do to help yourself with it. So today's video, I hope it adds some value, which is basically understanding what is the inner child.